before we get into the scary game, we brought it up in the description of today's live stream, but I don't know if you guys saw it on the channel, but we made a big announcement today, which I'm really excited about, and it looks like a lot of you are excited about too, which is our new series that's going to be rolling out in the next couple weeks or so. I'm not allowed to say the date yet, but our new series, which is called Game Lab, which is kind of like Mythbusters for gamers. I'm really excited about it. Like, everyone here has been working on it for like the last 6 months or so. Like, and it's been a thing that's been in process for like over a year at this point.
Yep. It's really exciting. We were really excited to tell you guys about it, and we're going to start off with me as cruise director doing a 15-minute Q&A.
Yeah, so because we saw that there was still some confusion in the comments around like YouTube Red and like what's it mean and it's not available internationally, and that's I totally get it, right? Like,
yeah, which is actually totally understandable.
YouTube Red is still a very confusing product in a lot of ways. I think like
it's like YouTube Red. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, because
to rip off some good mythical morning.
Because honestly, there's a lot of like misinformation. There's a lot of myths. There's a lot of rumors that have circulated that people just kind of assume as fact now. So I don't know all the answers, but I wanted to make sure that, because there was a lot of comments that we saw coming up a bunch of times, that we want to make sure that you guys knew about, so that way you're as excited about the series as we are.
Yeah, so, like I said, I'm gonna be your navigator extraordinaire through, so what I did was I pulled out, and you were talking about some of them earlier today, so like we pulled out some of the big questions that we saw in the video that went up today, which if you haven't seen it, it's a trailer for Game Lab. I think it's really cool. It's so exciting. Anyway, I was really excited about it. We pulled like five of the like questions that we kept seeing come up, and we're gonna talk about them basically. So I guess the first thing is, if you guys are watching and you have any other questions that we can try and squeeze in at the end of like 15 minutes, again, we're like, this is Scary Games Friday, y'all. So we don't want to like delay the scary games very much. It should be me throwing some questions at you from specific people in the chat.
Get throwing! Then hurl said questions at my face.
Oh, duck. They are coming. Okay, so.
Bring it.
So.
Bring it.
But I'm talking to the chat. So.
It's been brought in.
So if there are any other questions that we can squeeze in, throw them into the chat. Hit us up on Twitter. #GTLive. You know the drill. And let's go. Okay. So.
What's up?
So the first one comes from Venom SWR at Siri AI Killer on Twitter, who submitted right before we started GT Live. And this question was also reflected by 2Dog14 in the comments of the trailer. And it's about international YouTube Red stuff. So we should definitely talk about this one. Question, how are viewers outside the USA going to watch Game Lab? Because for now, YouTube Red doesn't exist there. And specifically, 2Dog14 called out, not available in Germany, not available in Canada, not available in UK.
So
Jason, are you yelling at me because my braid is blocking the microphone?
It's blocking the mic.
Does it keep hitting it?
Like if you're gonna do an asymmetrical.
There we go.
Okay. So
hey
anyway.
Man, the side braid is in. What can I do?
So when we first started talking to YouTube about doing Game Lab, they said that YouTube Red will eventually be international in as many markets as they can. Apparently, clearing the rights issues for creating the service elsewhere is taking them a long time. So even though YouTube Red as a service isn't necessarily available internationally right now, all the episodes will be available internationally. It's just on an individual, like, a purchase basis, right? So
it's like how you buy a movie, I think, from YouTube.
Yeah,
that's the way we've been made to understand how it's going to work. Like, if you want to rent a movie on YouTube or whatever, you can actually, like, buy the episode, but it's like one at a time.
Yeah.
So we think that's the way it works.
So it is available to any loyal theorist across the world. It's just it's a different. It's like it doesn't fall under YouTube Red, the like service. It falls under just like, hey, you want to see this episode? There it is. Like it's available for you. So
okay, cool.
On an individual basis.
So and is that like everywhere?
I'm not.
It's like most
Susan.
places. We think it's most places, right? Yeah, like
most places.
Okay, cool.
I think.
So that's what we know, and I think that is that's about as much as we know about that one, right? Okay, cool. So So internationally, everybody should be able to get them one episode at a time.
Yep.
All right, cool. The next question was, okay, so why can't you watch Immersion on Rooster Teeth for free? That one came from.
Why can you?
Why? What's the difference? I think the question is basically. So it was submitted by Angelina Jelly.
Not to be confused with Jolie.
Angelina Jelly. So anyway, or you could just watch. She said, or you could just watch Immersion for free.
Yeah.
So I think the question is, what's the difference?
Yeah.
Between Rooster Teeth's Immersion show and Game Lab, which I also think is a totally fair question.
So and that's great, and we haven't really. The trailer that was released today didn't talk about all the elements of Game Lab yet, which I'm really excited to share with you guys. So first off, we started. So basically, Game Lab was born out of the idea of reality check. So I don't know if all of you guys watching remember, but it was about 2 years ago at this point, a year and a half ago, that we did a video for Rainbow Six Siege where we partnered with the LA SWAT team, learned about like breaching and seizing rooms and this and that. And it was, to this day, one of our most liked videos. It was one of the ones that you guys really liked. Ubisoft, who was the brand who funded that episode, it's like one of their favorite integrations that they've ever done. And it like, we had such a good time working on it that we've always wanted to make more for you. Like, we've wanted to make it into a bigger series, but the videos are just so expensive, right? Because you're dealing with the experts, you're dealing with, like, booking locations, you're dealing with legal fees, you're dealing with all these, like, multiple camera people, it's an all-day shoot, you have to cater these people, which I'm always like, why do you have to cater people?
We had to hire ostrich wranglers for one of them.
Yeah, so...
What? Oh, so
but that's reality check, so...
No, but it answers actually another question from Benamin Vlogs, who said, "Oh, so it's reality check with money," but it's so there's a difference, I think, and I think we can answer like two questions at once. Keep going.
Okay.
So it's reality check.
So let me talk. Let me talk. Jeez. So it's basically reality check, but with bigger scale, right? Like bigger challenges, more impressive like activities. Like for one episode, and you see it in the trailer, we rent out a speedway and a bunch of cars, and we like play Rocket League soccer in real life and learn about like stunt driving and this and that. How it's different from Rooster Teeth. So first off, it's, you know, my show, and so like obviously I'm bringing different things to it. But also, it's much more focused on the training element and the expert element. So each episode has like a person who works in that field, like a real-life ostrich rider / wrangler, or, you know, real-life bomb defusal teams, or guys who design immersive horror experiences for a living.
I can't imagine what game that deals with.
And working with them to basically learn the ins and outs of their life, train with them about kind of like what it's like to live in their world, and then put those skills to the test. And then kind of compare it to what the video game experience is like. So that's like one key difference. The other thing too is quite honestly, like, I love you, Bernie. I love you, Bernie, but I actually don't watch a lot of Rooster Teeth content regularly, so my experience with Immersion was like maybe I saw an episode or two 5 years ago when the show first launched.
You just saw Bernie like 2 days ago. Bernie.
I love Bernie. There's just so much YouTube that I can't watch it all. But I didn't know that Immersion, like, I thought Immersion was on hiatus, but then apparently this year they just restarted Immersion, which I'm like, oh no! Because at that point, Game Lab was already like in the work. Like I told you at the beginning, like this has been going for like the last year. We've been pitching, hey, make Reality Check into a long-running series and make it into Game Lab or whatever. Like, we had to change names, but make it into a long-running series for like a year. So it's been going for a while. Like, so that's a whole thing. But that's the difference, right? Like, we're bringing different things to the table, and quite honestly, like, Immersion was a thing, but if I really ripped off anyone, it was Mythbusters. Like, let's be honest here.
Yeah.
Like
Mythbusters.
Whenever I would talk about the show, I'm like, I want to make a gaming equivalent of Mythbusters meets Dirty Jobs. It's Dirty Jobs where it's like gamers thrown into these like uncomfortable, weird experiences, but there's the Mythbusters component of like testing game mechanics and testing like game tropes in real life. So that has always been my pitch line. I haven't been going around being like, it's immersion, but with more training elements or whatever. So like that's the thing.
Yeah, it's always been, we want to make Mythbusters, but for gaming.
Yeah.
The other thing, though, not to be spoilery about it, but there's like a whole other thing about Game Lab that's totally, like, actually, this doesn't even rip off Mythbusters. This is just like totally different.
This is brand new, and I don't know, like some of the like
I don't know if anyone knows about it yet.
Of the early like YouTube has teased it a little bit.
Yeah.
But one of the things that we're most excited about, so obviously you guys have been the reason we're able to make this show, right? Like YouTube's like, hey, you're a cool channel creator. A lot of people like you. You make cool content. Make a show, and we have like, hey, please let us make this show. But one of the things that I really wanted to do, and I really wanted to do with the reality check episode 2, was figure out a way to allow you guys into the experience. Because there we were training with the SWAT team. I did an episode where I was flying around doing barrel rolls, and I'm like, I wish I could actually share this experience with people, because I'm so lucky to be in the position where I can do stunt flying and I can do, the SWAT team stuff. How can I involve the audience in that? And what Game Lab does that Immersion doesn't have, that Mythbusters doesn't have, any of that, is each video comes with a 360 video experience. And so it was a huge learning process for all of us, like everyone on the team.
It's really hard.
It's really hard.
Filming in so the 360 is like with the Google Cardboard, or just you're on your phone. You can actually see it with your phone.
You can see it on the desktop, and you drag and drop, like you can watch it.
Yeah,
wherever.
you don't even have to watch what's going on in the main video. You can look around at everything that's behind you. You can see everything. It's pretty cool.
And so, for instance, we have a bomb defusal episode. And
oh my gosh, you spoiler.
It's in the trailer. There's a bomb defusal episode, and what ends up happening, so the VR experience, the 360 experience, is now all of a sudden you're in the perspective of someone who's locked in a room with a bomb.
Oh, tell me more. Keep talking.
And you're allowed.
And nobody explains. What?
Spoiler, Stephanie. You're allowed to look around and look into the bomb and see what it's like to cut the wires and this and that. So I wanted a way to kind of figure out how you could be along for the experience, and that's the way we did it, was experimenting with 360. And so each episode has that 360 video, and some of them are different. Some of them are more narrative, some of them are more behind the scenesy, some of them are actually POV, you in the experience doing it yourself. But that way you get to engage with the show along with us, which felt really important to me. And so I hope you guys like it. I'm super stoked about it. Like I said, it was hard, and I learned a lot about what it takes to do 360 video, and next 360 project we do will be much different. But yeah.
Okay, cool. So we're only going to do this for a couple more minutes, because people in the chat are either saying Mythbusters or play the game, stop talking.
Mythbusters! How did we not do Mythbusters?
That would have been good, actually.
That would have been so much better than Game Lab.
Oops. So, okay, so really quick, a couple more questions. Can we have it on normal YouTube after a few months? Pretty please, says Janvik Gate.
That is not up for me to decide.
Yeah. Have no control over that.
And just so you guys know how this works, because it's unclear, right? So we had a show, Reality Check, now Game Lab, that we're like, hey, YouTube, we want to make this show. You have this YouTube Originals thing that you're launching. Can we make this with you? And they're like, yeah. And what ends up happening is they give you a large chunk of money to make that show. The thing is, and this answers, I think, another thing that was popping up a lot, which is oh, sellout, MatPat sellout. MatPat finally sold out to YouTube and whatever.
Yeah, gosh.
No friends.
You jerk.
Not at all. So basically, YouTube gives you this chunk of money, and it's a big chunk of money, but it all gets spent. I mentioned it in the behind-the-scenes trailer, but there are...
It all goes to those darn ostrich wranglers.
Yeah, it does.
They're just... Those guys... They just charge a mint to race them all. No.
Ostrich Ranch, but also the locations. We had a 50-person team that was fully booked for an entire month. You have multiple cameramen. You have, I think the most cameras that were running in any given scene was 20 at the same time. You have months of post-production. You have the legal fees, which there's a lot of stupid legal fees.
Well, we wanted to license the game so we could say anything we wanted about the games, and we could use the game footage, and we could really get into the games.
Yeah.
But to do that, you have to get the legal okay. Like they signed off. You can say anything you want about the game. So then it's not like the companies can't get mad at you if you're like, hey, this isn't really realistic or whatever.
Yeah, so like with Rainbow Six, for instance, like that was in partnership with Ubisoft, right? And that was for their game Rainbow Six. And, you know, we were allowed to say most of what we wanted to say about, like, this isn't real, this is real, this isn't, this is. But we wanted to kind of make the show that we wanted to make with Game Lab, which is why, could we have made this show by partnering with a bunch of brands and just, you know, doing them all as, like, brand sponsorships? We could have. But then they're all commercials for the game, whereas like we wanted to actually like
they're cool commercials.
Cool commercials nonetheless, but still. But then you're kind of restricted. Like you can't say like, oh, parkour isn't like shown in Mirror's Edge because of X, Y, and Z. But because it was funded by YouTube third party, you know, we were able to say what we were able to create the show that at the end of the day we wanted to make, and that wasn't like #spawn for you guys, which was really important to me, because. You know, it's cool to do videos that aren't sponsored. So that was a big thing. But anyway, because YouTube gives you this chunk of money, like, they hire you to make a series for their stuff. And so technically, like, they paid me for that thing. So they own that thing. So at the end of the day, what they do with that thing is up to them. We're just kind of like a work for hire.
We're just really excited that we got to make it.
And I kind of alluded to it earlier, but like I said, that chunk of money gets spent. At the end of the day, all the claims about being a sellout, like PewDiePie's a sellout for doing YouTube Red, MatPat's a sellout for doing YouTube Red. Oh no, friends. Oh no. I don't know how much. Maybe PewDiePie did well. I don't know. But for us, at least, it was one of those things that like
so much time and work, you guys.
and I'm sure PewDiePie actually would be in the same boat. But like we could have made more money if we had just done 5 more Game Theory episodes or like a couple branded videos or whatever. Like. That's the scale that we were working with, but... So
wait, if you could... So we should probably, really quick, if you could make more money doing Game Theory episodes, why not just make Game Theory episodes?
It's not all about the money. No, but...
Wah, wah.
Well, it's not. I mean, one, it's not about the money. It was about creating something that I was really passionate about, and at the end of the day, something that I thought you guys would really enjoy, right? At the very least, you'll be able to enjoy the free episode, even if you don't buy any of the other episodes.
Oh, yeah, there is one.
Yeah, there's the free episode that everyone gets to see, which is going to be really good. But that's what it boils down to, right? Is, at the end of the day, I always ask, like, what is in it for you guys? Like, when we rolled out Film Theorists, we did that because a lot of you had been asking for film theory, so we made that happen. The live streams were like, hey, we want to talk to you and have an avenue to hang out with you more frequently. And so we started the live streams as like, hey, this is our way to talk to you on a regular basis. And with Game Lab, it was, we knew that Reality Check was such a popular series and that people, like even to this day, you go back to that episode and they're like, well, rip Reality Check, we want more Reality Check. And it was something that I really wanted to experiment with and just stretch my abilities as a creator. And so this was a good way to do it.
There are a lot of like theory videos out there on YouTube too, and so it's hey, maybe trying something new would be cool. Showing that games can be done in real life is a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, to me, at the end of the day, like there's a lot of reasons I wanted to do this, like philosophical reasons.
People are telling you to fix your hair. By the way, there you go.
But another one that was just
and also playing the game. We should.
last thing, real quick.
I know.
But, like, there was a lot of reasons to do it, but one of them was. There's never been a lot of, like, really good, really premium-feeling video game shows. Like, Rooster Teeth does some good stuff, does some really good stuff, and there are pockets here and there of, like, like Corridor Digital does really good stuff, but it's short form, generally. And so I wanted to be one of those creators who could show the world that, hey, you can do, like, a half-hour episode of gaming, for gamers by gamers. And that's what this show is it's a show that I hope you guys really like, that is, by a gamer for a gamer audience. And it can look beautiful and, like, television. The whole Jimmy Kimmel thing about, like, why would people want to play games? Well, I want to prove to the world that, like, gaming is a legitimate form of entertainment. And I hope that Game Lab, to some extent, is able to kind of like bridge that gap and show the world that gaming is worth paying attention to and worth respecting. Get us some street cred out there.
Would you care to drop the mic?
Mike,
You should drop.
Mike has been dropped.
Nice. Okay, cool.
So anyways, I hope that answers some of the questions. And again, like, we're so thankful to you guys for talking to us in the comments, letting us know your thoughts about the series.
Yeah,
your confusion about it. Because like we said at the beginning, YouTube Red is a confusing product, and if there are more questions that pop up, let us know. We can kind of explain them to the best of our knowledge.
Yeah.
YouTube is making a lot of these decisions, but we're carefully tracking it. We're making sure that, like, hey, at the end of the day, this makes sense for creators rather than taking away from what we as a YouTube community have. Because, don't get me wrong, if stuff gets taken away from the YouTube community,
The Theorist fist?
The Theorist fist is coming for you.
Is that the Theorist
I will defend this. I will defend this channel for my life. Oh, and lastly, real quick, was the comments around like, oh, there goes Game Theory and GT Live and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, there was this one. There was this one great one that was like, I guess. Hold on. And I'm sorry to call this person out, but it was just so funny. The Spoon Goon set on Twitter said, "Guess no more GT Live, Film Theory, Game Theory. You're probably gonna spend all your time on YouTube Red, which I can't watch." So
spoiler alert, Spoon Goon.
It's already done.
It's been done. If you didn't notice that we were working on it, it's already off the plate, my friend. So like, it was a lot of extra hours. Don't get me wrong, and like, it was exhausting. But we were pulling late nights to do it. But that's because we were passionate about it.
But it's done now.
But it's done.
Actually done.
like there's still like a couple edits left, but like the bulk of it, the like heavy duty work is gone. And it was like in February we had to skip a couple live streams, but that's all she wrote. Like I said, at the end of the day, it boils down to making sure that you guys are getting what you come for and what you expect. The live streams, Game Theory, Film Theory, all that stuff. That's not going away, nor would I ever do anything that would sacrifice that. Everything that we've added on top of that is like fun projects for us, fun experiments that we hope you guys like, ways to kind of stretch our creativity and try new things. But don't worry, like, what we do isn't going anywhere. Game Theory isn't disappearing behind a paywall or things like that. Like, the channel isn't changing. We're just adding a new show to it, and if you watch it, great. If not, great. If you choose to watch it when YouTube Red has more shows and more interesting shows, because right now there's not too many, great. Save it until there's 5 different, gaming related shows that you want to watch, not just Scare PewDiePie, which I was on, by the way. So if you do get your YouTube Red subscription,
plug it, man.
To watch Game Lab, you could also watch that episode of Scare PewDiePie, which is one of the finest episodes of Scare PewDiePie, I have to say. I'm just saying, it was a good episode.
I don't know. I was in an episode of Scare PewDiePie.
Enough talk. It is scary. So I hope that answers your questions. Again, let us know if you have any more. It's an ongoing conversation. Yeah. We want to make sure that you guys know that we're there for you. Like, we're not trying to like cut you out or anything, like, or change what you expect. At the end of the day, everything that we do is fundamentally with you in mind first. What is the value to you guys? You guys want merch, there it is, launch merch. How do we pull you along for Game Lab? Well, here's 360 videos. So don't forget that. Like, I love you guys. And we wouldn't be here today without you. And that was really important for me when we were doing this job, this project. So anyway,
pull up the game.
That's that.